Hello, guys. Welcome back to 1878 Blues. I'm joined here with Luca AFC. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me on, and I'm looking forward to this preview.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, Everton v Arsenal. A much anticipated game for both sides for very different reasons. Everton go into this 18th on the table. One win in 4 games. But things up to now, well, in recent times, have looked progressively better for us, even though there's a lot of noise around the club with the potential new ownership and the issues with that as well. So,
Yeah.
but on the field, to me, progressively looking better. But we're coming up against a side here who are, in the past year and a half, have kind of been a relentless side in the Premier League, which is strange for me to see because over the years they've become a side of a team that you used to mock a lot. There's a lot of videos out there of reactors and whatnot, which obviously kind of bantered on the club for a lot longer. And over time, they've kind of sorted their ways and stuck with their manager, which they don't normally do, Arsenal. Well, after Arsene Wenger, it could be quite hard to stick loyal to a manager after having a long tenure of a manager like that. So how are you feeling towards this game?
For me, look, I think, of course, going into this game with Everton and Arsenal, we don't have the greatest record at Goodison Park. We haven't beaten you lot for 6 years at Goodison Park. I felt last season was a bit embarrassing and a bit of a joke for Arsenal's performances because I expected Arsenal to go to Goodison Park and thinking, even when Everton have a bad season, there's always that crowd. And this is the problem. Like, this Sunday's going to be interesting. And I know Sunday's a way off this year. It's a few days away. But we have an effect when we go to grounds like the Merseysides, the Old Traffords and the Etihad. Those are the 4 grounds we really don't win that much. And for me, every time when we go to the Emirates, again, we always beat 4-5-1. And then when it comes to Goodison Park, we seem to lose 1-0, 2-1. So I think this game will be a very difficult game. But what I want to see is, look, Arteta has now picked up 10 points out of a possible 12. Right? We're unbeaten. We're 5th in the league. Everyone else from 2nd to 5th is all on 10 points. But I want to see a performance. We haven't seen an away display performance since last season. And I'm looking at the 4 games. Like, we've played 2 home games and I think 2 away games. Yeah. And for me, I'm looking at the worst performance I've seen is the Fulham game. For me, I think that was probably got to go down, probably the worst home performance of the season because Fulham, for me, they should have won that game. They were the better side, and if it wasn't for Ramsdale saving it, we would have lost that game 3-2. I even look at the Palace game. Yeah. There was moments in that game where Palace could have had a penalty in that game. And Tommy Ashley got sent off, and luckily it was only a 1-match ban. And the Forest game at the Emirates, they could have walked out with a point as well. And we beat Man United, but it wasn't a great performance. So the thing what I'm not happy with is performances. What I want to see from Mikel Arteta and Arsenal is I want to go to Goodison Park and put a really good performance in. I want us to... Now Arteta knew that Partey is now out for 6 weeks. Obviously, it's been about 10 days, 2 weeks during the international. So we've probably got about 4 weeks until he comes back, about a month's time. And what I want to see is, I want to see people like Kai Havertz, okay? Because the pressure is going to be on. I've not been Havertz's biggest fan. You've seen my channel before in the past, and I'm not his biggest fan. And until he proves to me, I've given him 10 games, or in January, to prove himself. And so far, he's not killing it. He needs a bit of confidence.
I have a bit of I have a feeling with Havertz. There's a lot of stick with him at the moment. I think obviously from the outside looking in, and even obviously yourself, he doesn't suit the plan. Yeah, doesn't suit the system. He looks lost. He doesn't look like he looks just like a player low in confidence, which is very odd for a player just joining a club. But I just think at some point, Arteta's going to have to change his way of styles of play or formation in this season. I think this season's going to be a lot more challenging for you. But I think what's proven is you've overcome some of them games. Not all of them. The Fulham one was a blip. unfortunately. Not a blip in terms of performances, but for results. But you've overcome some of the, the hostility in the match you've dealt with. You've been lucky to get away with some of the wins you have, but 100%. Champions can do that, and you get a little bit of luck on the way. And I just believe there's going to be some point where you're going to have your run. I don't know if it's going to be with this game. I mean, it will say a lot if you come out with this game as winners and you played us off the park and whatnot. Because, like you said, it's a ground like many other northwest type of grounds that you seem to struggle in. And I think it's a big test for yourselves. I think this is one of the biggest tests for you this season. It will be, regardless of how early it is in the season. I think this is it's a hoodie you can't seem to get over.
I don't think you guys have not won a game yet.
We haven't, no. And that's, again, it kind of brings up the 1-0 win for Everton.
Performance that Everton can normally turn up and beat Arsenal. They can normally do that because, quite frankly, we've not had the greatest performances at Goodison Park because last season we were in the title race. Yeah, whether we lost that game or not, which we did, and we needed to win that game. And those type of grounds, if you're challenging for the league with Man City, you've got to go to the Goodison Parks and get results.
Yeah, or at least something.
Yeah, at least a point. And we were all in that game. And we didn't deserve to win that game. It was a comfortable 1-0 performance for you boys. And I just want us to see a performance. And Havertz, for me, if he's going to start, look, you can't really drop a £65 million player because you're paying that money over the odds. And Arteta's feel like he's going to give Havertz opportunities now. And we've had an international break. Okay, yes, his country, of course, hasn't been up recently. I know they beat France last night, but it was a friendly. But Havertz, for me, he's got to step up. Okay, now on Sunday, has to step up. You can't be doing these. He's making good old individual passes and wise. We want to see a Kai Havertz performance, and that will build confidence because. Chelsea fans are saying, okay, you get the best average performance, might pop up your important goal like a Champions League final goal.
It's not good enough for you, isn't it? Like you want a player who kind of contributes for most of the season. I think Trossard is like one of these players who come on, and there's people Arsenal fans have seen on Twitter, calling him to start starting more games, but he comes on and he contributes to something. He helps the team in some way. Havertz kind of. It's like if he gets a goal, you don't want that to overhide how bad he's been performing or contributing to the team. When I look at players who score, like you can have good stats in that, but in my eyes, for you to be a useful player in our squad, you've got to contribute in every aspect of the game. You can't just go missing. Where do you think is his best position? There's a lot of people telling me he's a right winger, which is crazy to me. He just hasn't got a pace. Hasn't got pace at all.
I think he's better on the wing. I think he's
better on the wing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's not good enough in the middle of the park. I don't think he isn't good enough.
What's his strengths on the wing then? Because for me, when I watch him play, he just looks so stiff, and he's like a late player running into the box like a CAM. But and he's got a shot on him as well. But I just. What do you think's his skills? Why do you believe his best position is the right wing or on the wing?
The reason why I think he's better in that natural position because I think he offers something more than in that position. Like in that position, he's more threatening up front. He can obviously show a bit of dynamic. He can show a bit of he can get into like individual space opportunities there, and obviously. Help the team out. I just feel like Granit Xhaka's position of him coming in, it's not good enough. You can't have Havertz, Rice, Odegaard as the three. Okay, Partey's injured, right, for 5 to 6 weeks. But at the start of the season, this manager was putting people in the wrong position. And we only changed it because Partey got injured. And plus we had to go back to basics and it works. So, and our basics, we know what our basics is. Ben White at right back, Gabriel Saliba at centre back, and Zinchenko at left back. That was our back four last season, hence why we challenged with Man City right near towards the end. So,
you don't change something if it doesn't, if it works, don't change it.
Exactly.
And that's what I feel like he's trying to do. But
Like someone was saying to me, right, that Arteta today was saying he's trying to be like Guardiola. Try and be yourself, Arteta. Mikel Arteta needs to try and do his own thing. This is Mikel Arteta, not Pep Guardiola. I can understand, yes, everybody wants to be like Pep. I get that. But be yourself. It's like if you're going to work or if you're going out and you want to like look at, mate, okay, it feels like, I'm not saying Arteta's jealous, right? Or if you're going to a gym and you want to focus and all that stuff, be yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand, yes, Arteta might want to learn a little bit of tips from Guardiola, but you've got to be yourself. You know,
You've got to take the tips and the strategies, and you've got to kind of make it your own.
You're the one who is managing Arsenal Football Club, a big club, right? That was 49-game unbeaten run 20 years ago. So quite frankly, you're in the frame, Arteta. You came in this job. You spent over 600 million, right? In 4 or 5 years. Play your own tactics. Go to your tactics from last season. Because Man City have got the players. You can't be putting, we're trying to copy like Man City, put John Stones for Man City playing in midfield. You can't do that because you don't have the players what Man City have.
Yeah. And over time, they have to build to become a player like that. You can't just bring someone in and then throw them in a position which they're unnatural in, which what we're doing with James Garner. You know, to me, when you're versatile, it gets me a bit worried because it's like, well, how good of a footballer you are then? Because why are you that versatile? Why are you're the one having to manoeuvre to different positions? And he's on the right wing and he's so ineffective at the moment. He's doing a job, but he's ineffective. And his trait is to be in the centre, which won't probably, again, be the case for this game because we've got a lack of right wingers at the moment. So my thoughts on Havertz is that, like any big money signing, he's going to have to play because it's probably part of his contract, and also it just looks bad on Arteta, you know what I mean? Like Southgate picking Maguire.
Otherwise, people are going to be like, it's the Pepe 2.0. We already got.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
We already got 3 million for Pepe.
Yeah. I thought he got his contract terminated.
Yeah. I think it was terminated, but I heard it was 3 million. I could be wrong, but I think it got terminated. So technically, we lost all our money. So
crazy that. You got absolutely nothing from it.
I was looking at a stat the other day of a starting 11, and I saw it on Instagram, like Mustafi, Socrates, Ramsey, Ozil, Laka, Abam. We've got all these players on free agents.
Yeah.
Free agents. Well, you could have got money for that.
Yeah. It's a reminder of Everton in a sense, not fully on the business end of things because we're in an absolute mess at the moment still. We're still trying to climb out of it. But it's one of them. You've got to, you can use a player to their contract ends, but you've got to also think about the investments and that, like the money you make, what have you got from them? You've got to think about that carefully before the end of the last year of the contract because then they just run away with nothing. You've left with a player who's not barely contributed as much as he was hoping to contribute to the team. And he just leaves for nothing, and it's crazy. Like I'm shocked that we sold Alex Iwobi to Fulham for about 22 million, or it's rising to 28 or something with add-ons. It's crazy when he was on 9 months left of his contract. So that's the issue with Havertz. He's gonna have to play because a lot of managers like Southgate and Arteta and all the various managers are stubborn, and they don't want to be proven that they're wrong of what wasn't an Arteta signing? I know he's complimented him a lot when he joined, but is it his signing or did I think someone else?
I think it is an Arteta signing. I really do because why would you go out and spend 65 million on a player where you could have gone out and actually got different positions? We needed a striker, and now we're looking at striker targets in January.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing because obviously if you're in a title race or if you're in the mix, you can go and get a centre forward in January, which isn't a bad thing. I feel this is a Kai Havertz. I think it's Arteta and Edu. I think it's a bit of both because he liked the player and he come out in the meeting and said he wants to get the player of Bayern Leverkusen. But us Arsenal fans, his fan base believes that we can end up getting him as a Bayern Leverkusen. We'll wait and see what happens. But the opportunity, I'm not seeing it at the moment.
No.
I want to see Havertz, right, be the player what he was when he first joined Chelsea.
Mm.
I do, because Chelsea fans are delighted that they got rid of him. They couldn't care less. They've spent £1 billion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, they're not in the greatest position at the moment, but they're slowly going to get better at some point.
Mm.
But Kai Havertz, for me, I want to see Havertz. Like,
Mm.
Arteta, yes, he's given them opportunities, but when it's games like this against Everton away,
You can't be.
to turn up. You
Yeah.
cannot be a passenger, okay? And at the moment, he is acting like a passenger. He's another Ozil, 3 and 2.0. And this is an opportunity for people like Kai Havertz. I know he's low confidence, and I can understand that. But he's got to step up on Sunday, because we've got big games coming up. Because after that, we've got the North London derby coming up at the Emirates. Then we've got the likes of Man City, Bournemouth, Brentford away coming up. Havertz has to step up. Because if he doesn't, I'm afraid he's going to have to be dropped.
Yeah, well, I've got more still. For some reason, it's mad. Like, I've got so many questions about one player, which is crazy. And I don't, he's not even in my team. But to move on from him, there's obviously still issues with the team. It's not going smooth sailing as you would hoped it to be, especially that Fulham game at home. Is there any other key areas in the squad right now that you're a bit slightly worried about, and especially going into a game like this? Because we've got, I don't want to overrate this signing or overhype him, sorry, at this moment of time. And you might have not seen much of him at all. But this Beto is a real handful. And I really believe that he's one of them strikers Arsenal or anyone, to be honest, in this league will hate, because he's a constant nuisance. He's strong, he's powerful, he's fast.
From Villarreal?
He's from Udinese.
Udinese.
Yeah. And when I watched his highlights, it was a bit like, he looks boss, but then I don't want to, we had Umar Nias in the past, who was awful. We've had Vlasic, we've had other players who've just been dreadful at this club, and they had a great highlight show reel on YouTube. So I don't really want to believe it. But then when he's played these past 2 games, and yes, against Doncaster, yes, against Sheffield United, I believe if you're coming into this country and jumping straight into a game against Doncaster Rovers in a cup where it's going to be physical and whatnot, you could easily be hidden away from that game. There's a lot of big players in the past who have played against lower league oppositions and have completely been non-existent in that game because they haven't been up for it. He come in and he was absolutely brilliant when he come on at half time, and then the Sheffield United game, he was a constant nuisance. Should have scored, or should at least had more opportunities to score, but his overall play was brilliant. And I think personally he can be an absolute pain in the backside for your Arsenal defenders, even though I rate them highly.
100%, I 100% agree, because I look at it now where Sunday's a massive game for us, and it's going to be about team selection. What I want to see with my starting 11, I want to see Ramsden in goal.
Yeah, Preston Pickford. I mean, he did start against Scotland, but he started a few players, which was a bit confused about against Scotland, Gareth Southgate. But
Kyle Saka didn't start the game, but he came on. So
yeah,
good. Which I'm a bit surprised Southgate done that. Declan Rice started, but I think what I want to see, Ramsden in goal. I want to see Ben White, Gabriel, Saliba, Zinchenko in the midfield. I want to see Declan Rice, Odegaard. It's difficult to say who will start in the middle. I'd probably go with Jorginho in a game like this.
Yeah, just control it, basically.
Midfield. He did it against Newcastle away.
Yeah.
And then up front, I go with Bukayo Saka. And then I'll go for probably Eddie Nketiah in a game like this, probably.
What's his skill set, Nketiah? Does he bring players in? Like, he looks like a good finisher from what I've seen of him. He might not do much in the game, but he seems to be a good finisher to me.
The thing he's a poacher. That's how his model is as a player. I like Eddie Nketiah. Look, I'm not his biggest fan, right?
Of course, yeah.
But this season, part of me feels like I'm slowly starting to feel like Eddie's going to do very, very well this season. He's not going to get the goals what Arsenal fans want, but he is slow. When I'm seeing performances, like he won the penalty against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
He also scored against Fulham, and he played well, and he got so. I think Eddie Nketiah, for me, we're seeing performances now, which is really starting what Arsenal fans to see. But we want to see him score goals. Okay, I know he scored against Fulham, but we want him to start. Performances with him are looking good, decent enough. But I want him to start scoring goals, and I'll start Eddie Nketiah because, okay, yes, I don't know if he played for England last night. I can't remember if he did or not.
Nketiah?
Yeah, did he play
No,
last night?
I don't think he did.
So he never got a game, and there's rumours going around today that he might change his country to Ghana. So
African Cup of Nations.
African Cup of Nations. So if he goes to the African Cup of Nations, then we're going to need a striker in January. Otherwise,
I don't know the up-to-date injury situation at the moment with Arsenal, but why would you pick Nketiah over a Gabriel Jesus, or is he actually out? Unless I don't know.
I don't know. It's difficult to say because Jesus, for me,
because he's a poacher himself. He's a poacher.
It's a game like this against Everton where I feel like not to disrespect Everton, but I just feel like it's a game like this. We're going against a poor Everton side. Arsenal's performances have not been great this season. We've picked up 10 points out of possible 12, which is decent. But I feel like a game like this, you start Eddie. And then in the Champions League, you go with Gabriel Jesus against PSV.
Yeah.
Because that is the Champions League. And we're in that competition. And I'd go with someone like Eddie Nketiah because we've got PSV on Wednesday. And I feel like someone like an Eddie could come in and actually be in that role, and I wouldn't drop him. Like I'm not his biggest fan, Eddie. I know it probably makes sense if Jesus starts because of Jesus, what he did against Manchester United.
Yeah.
But if Jesus starts, I'm not complaining. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to tweet or anything like that. But I feel Eddie should start this game because he hasn't played many games from England. He never even got a game for England. He only got a call-up. And I feel like use that confidence from the performance he's done this season, going to an Everton game. I mean, on the wing, I'll go with Martinelli. That is what I'll do. I want to see Martinelli, Saka, and bring Jesus. And if we're 1-0 down, try to chase for an equaliser, get something out of the game. We bring Jesus on for 60 minutes.
So would you have Odegaard? Obviously, Odegaard would be the attacking midfielder. Rice will sit in between. I'm assuming you would want to.
Would Jorginho Rice work? Because Partey's not available for the game.
Yeah.
Another midfielder who I would go for, I'm not sure in the game like this, but it's Fabio Vieira. His performances have been very impressive off the bench. And that Fulham game, he changed the game. Okay, we draw the game, but he changed the game. Even Manchester United, he changed the game.
Did he come on in both of them games?
Yes.
Because that means he could be a bit more of an impact player. You know, in moments like that where you're having to change your formation, things are not going right, you're in dire straits, and he comes on and refreshes it up. I haven't fully invested in watching Fabio Vieira because he doesn't play that much. He just comes on in moments and that. But I have a feeling that he's like a David Silva kind of flair type of player. Yeah. He just brings a different element to the game because you've got Martinelli, who's just quite direct. Not a brilliant player still, but like his game is to be very direct, run at you. And then you got that with Saka. Saka kind of can do anything, to be honest.
100%.
He can cut in, cut out. He can literally do anything. He's very unpredictable. And Vieira does offer something different like that. So maybe that team you've gave me looks the realistic one. Obviously, bear in mind, Havertz could start, which will be horrendous for yourself, knowing that when you look at the lineup, you'll be less confident in a positive result in this game. But if you lose this game, and it's a horrendous, I wouldn't say horrendous, but just a bad performance. A performance kind of in relation to the other performances you've had recently. What's your thoughts then? What do you think? And what's your initial thoughts?
I think this game, it all depends on how we perform, okay? Because what I want to see from this game is a few choices. I want to see Arsenal putting a masterclass performance. I want us to put in an away performance. I want us to see a comfortable performance. Of course, Everton are going to have chances. We've got decent attackers. The only thing I'm worried about is about the battle in midfield. The likes of Onana had a fantastic game last season against Arsenal. We were looking at him in the summer. Onana, Doucouré was a player I did like a few years ago when he was at Watford, but I'm not sure he's that good now. So I feel the midfield is a problem. Okay, I feel, yes, we coped against Manchester United, but it's about keeping up the consistency. Can Arsenal go and keep up the consistency like they did last season?
I think the wing positions for you is your main strength in this game. I think our wing backs have been struggling, and that's been a big issue. Patterson's out of form. You know, you want Coleman to come back, but how desperate does that look? But he does bring that solidarity. He's still good. Still reads the game well. You got left back Ashley Young. He will be good in some games and bad in others, so you wouldn't know what he's going to be like in a game like this. Could thrive under, is it under the lights? It's a 5:30 kickoff. Yeah, kind of under the lights coming into sunset. So it's a game that, to me, literally could go either way. Like we have that thing over us, don't we? And I just believe that we could potentially pull something from this, but I wouldn't necessarily say it would be a win. I generally believe I've had it since I checked that was the next game in line, and I just have a feeling it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Part of me feels like I have two ways. I do think we will win the game, but at the same time, when I hear things like this, I feel like when Arsenal have not lost yet, round 12 won for 6 years. We go to places like Everton away, even Manchester United at Old Trafford. Every year we lose the game, and then they lose at our place. And I feel this game. Part of me feels like I do think we will win the game, but part of me feels like another thing I'm thinking on my mind is I feel you guys can turn us over in a game like this because, quite frankly, you guys haven't won a game. Sean Dyche has a great record against Arteta. I don't know how many times has Arteta beaten Sean Dyche?
How long has Arteta been in charge for Arsenal now?
Since 2019, end of 2019. December 20.
I think he was out for a year, wasn't he?
The game when we drew 0-0, it was Youngberg's last manager, and then Arteta came in the next job and we played Bournemouth away.
You must have beaten him at home at least once.
I think we beat you at home.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you beat us at home last year, didn't you? 2-0.
Yeah.
It was 2-0. Yeah. But I don't know if he managed against him with Burnley. I think he did. I mean, I'm assuming he has.
We beat you this year, 4-0. But I mean, didn't we? In March.
Was it 4-0?
Was it 4-0?
Yeah. I thought it was 2-0. Because there was a 5-0. That was the end of the season before that. The last game of the season. But Dyche obviously wasn't there. Then we had some other fraud in charge.
He's beaten us a couple of occasions, but I don't know who's won the most. But I think this game can go either way. I just feel like I think it all depends on the performance by Arsenal. If we get the performance what we did against Manchester United, I think this game's got a point. But
I think Arteta struggles against sides who've got low block.
He does.
And sit behind the ball.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool at Anfield, we haven't won there since 2012, and we should have beaten them last year, right? Yeah. We controlled that game for 40 minutes. We battered them, and then second half, when it's bigger crowds, we have a problem with Arsenal. Yeah. We have a problem. We have a solution where we have a habit where we can't seem to shut the crowd up. And it's going to depend on Sunday how we perform. It's going to depend how Arsenal set out as a balance. And we don't do well when it comes to low blocks. And that's something where we've got to learn. The Etihad, we haven't won since 2015. Old Trafford, of course, we beat them in lockdown. But without lockdown, not won there in the league since 2006. Yeah. Anfield, 2012. Goodison, 2017. So I'm going to go with Arsenal winning this game. I feel we will win the game. I'm going to go for 2-1 Arsenal. I do think Arsenal will score first. And I do think Everton will equalise, and I do think you guys will give us a really good game. But I think Arsenal have enough quality to nick it because they're going to get the confidence from the Manchester United win. Because it would be typical bottle at Arsenal will end up beating Man United and then go to Goodison Park and lose like a 1-0. It wouldn't surprise me, but I do think I'm going to back my team. I'm going to go for Arsenal 2-1.
But it's like you say, like, you know, it's away grounds, it's big crowds. If you do come out with this with a win in a hostile environment, because it will be, you know, I think there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of stories around the club at the moment. It's not in a bad situation at the moment, you know. We're thinking a bit more positive about the team, but it's still going to be a tough game. We're going to want our first win of the season, and if you win, you know, you can look into the Champions League then and be a bit more optimistic, knowing that you're going to be facing larger crowds, added on pressure away from home. It will give you a bit of confidence leading on. I don't know if you're playing PSV away first.
PSV at home on the Wednesday.
At home. So, but
on the Sunday.
You can feel, you can feel a bit more positive going into an away game, knowing that you can beat the hoodoos and beat unwanted records you've had against sides like Everton away from home. But yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to it. I am strangely confident about it, not just because of our recent record. I'm just believing the team is progressively getting better each game. Might be a step too far this match, you know. I'm not going to sit here and cry if we lose. It is expected again as an Evertonian, but it will be a tough game no matter what. I can't see Arsenal brushing us aside, and I can't see us basically smashing you all about all over the field. I can't, you know, we don't do that to any team. We couldn't do it to Hereford or anyone. So yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, hopefully we come out on top. But if not, we'll shake hands on it on a draw. That will be, I think, the best result for me. But obviously, for you, a win is nothing. You know, you don't want to have anything less than a win.
Do you think you guys will get relegated this season? I don't think you will, because everyone will find a way to stay up.
My only concern is the ongoing financial. What's the thing called? Just a financial situation in terms of getting punished for it. You know, there could be a possibility of points deduction. I can't imagine it'd be too many points, but it does worry me how many it would be, because it could affect where we lie. Because I do believe the bottom six will be quite tight this season, and I just believe a few points could be in it, and I don't want us to be affected by that. But at the same time, I feel better about the team, and I believe we could, you know, highest place in my eyes could be like a 13th or 12th if we put ourselves to it. I think a lot of people have not rated our transfer window, but what we've done with the money who's been available to us, we've really done well. And you can't change everything in one window. We're not a Chelsea, you know. We don't we don't get we go by the rules now. Where Chelsea obviously don't look like they are, but you know, that's for another day. I think we'll be sound. It depends, because around December, January time, we kind of collapse, like massively collapse. We could lose about 7 in a row, and we have in the past couple of seasons, and in these past few seasons we've had decent starts as well. This hasn't been a decent start, but in performances wise, it has. Yeah, it's a 50-50 at the moment, but I do believe we'll stay up. I think we'll get more players in January as well.
You guys stay up because you had to wait until the end of last season.
Yeah,
and it was between you and Leicester.
That was awful. Hated it.
But were you at the game? Were you at the game when it happened?
No, I couldn't even. I didn't even want to go near the football ground at all. I couldn't. I mean, I had to go to work at the time with fans around me all the time and live events, and I had to listen to it all. I kind of just every game from about February to the end of the season, I just wanted to be in my room and not hear about football. Didn't create conversations with friends over football in person because I hated talking about it. It's an awful situation. Arsenal will probably never in your lifetime ever go through a situation like that. You don't know in football, but
100%.
It's awful. It's the worst thing ever. I mean, I thought fighting for European places and not making it to the Champions League or not making it to Europa League broke me heart. And, you know, it was really upsetting and stressful. But this, when your whole club looks like, you know, it feels like your club's like is going to go out of existence. That's how it feels like if you go down, especially the size of our club and the financial issues. But I think we will be all right. I actually predicted you are going to win the league. I just don't. I know Guardiola has done things before, and I've kind of doubted him before, and he's proved me wrong. I just think this squad, and I know they've got a lot of good players in that squad, but the depth of the squad is getting a bit too tight for my liking if I was a City fan. And I just believe a couple of injuries away. And how long can you keep the form up when some of the new players could not show up as much as they would hope for, like a Grealish situation a couple of seasons back? I don't think they're going to win the league. I don't know what it is. I genuinely believe Arsenal are going to win the league. I genuinely believe that.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I believe it.
I reckon we'll get second and third, but I still think Man City will do it because Man City are just unstoppable at the moment. Like, who's going to stop Man City? I know, you look at the Sheffield United game. I did a Premier League prediction show last night, right, on my panel. And I said, if City, there's performances where, look, Man City are the best team in the world at the moment, but they can be stopped, right? They are the number one team that I talked about the treble, right? But if you see performances like Sheffield United, they should have got a point against Man City. But the thing with Man City is they always find a way to expand and try and get that winning goal because they have the belief in their team. They've got the squad depth. Like, you don't think Man City haven't got a full squad depth after losing a couple of players? I still think they've got a very good squad depth. I really do.
I do, but I feel like a couple of games in recent seasons where they've lost like a De Bruyne or lost someone else has affected them. They've had little blips there and there. And I just don't know how it can carry on. You could say, but it's carried on for the likes of Bayern Munich. Yeah, but their league is, the amount of good teams in that league in terms of competitive teams in the Champions League in Europe is nothing compared to the Premier League. I think in the structure of all the teams in the league, it's a lot more tight in our league than it is in any other league, in terms of quality and whatnot and what they can offer. I just feel like there's going to be a stumbling block at some point for City, and I think every year I kind of just decrease my feeling that they're going to do well. Obviously, I was a bit like that last season about them, and then they go and win the treble. But I think sometimes, winning a treble, you've done it. And some of these players could be looking, going, not saying they're not committed their loyalty to the club, but they could be looking elsewhere. They know that a Real Madrid might be in the moves for them. A Bayern might need some fresher players in the squad. Stuff like that, Saudi Arabians and whatnot. I just believe, winning a treble like that, you don't always have a great season after. I think United didn't have a great season after they won the treble.
Didn't have a really good season after that treble. We didn't really have a good season.
And I know it's different days, different quality of players and whatnot, different standards of the league, but to me, I just think as a human reaction and human way about, you are less motivated because you've done it, or you've literally done it, or you're one trophy away from completing the whole set, the whole season. And that could be the aim, to go for the quadruple. It could be. But I just can't see it. I just don't believe they're going to win the league.
I hope you're right, and I really do hope we come out and win the league next year. That would be fantastic for me.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing. And it will prove that Arteta and Edu have spent that £200 million.
Havertz winning the winning goal to win the league. Imagine that. If he did nothing all season and then scores the winning goal for you to win the league,
he'll become a legend. People
that's it. Get a statue right away.
On Instagram, it would just be used as split, and people constantly just getting well excited about it.
Well, that's the end anyway. Thank you for joining me, Luca. AFC.
Thank you very much. It's been amazing.
Always welcome back whenever we play again. Well, hopefully next season if we're still in the league. But so that's the wrap, guys. I'll do a match reaction. A match reaction after the game. I might do a video before then talking about the takeover issues at the club. But that's it. Good luck for Saturday.
Yeah, good luck for Sunday, man.
Yeah. Sunday, is it?
It's Sunday, 4:30.
Well, I hope I can't really cut that out, but it is what it is. Forgetting the days these days. Anyway, thank you very much and see you later.